And immediately when I heard that, I thought he was a co-pilot because he's talking on the radios. So I thought I had somebody in there that could fly the plane. So he was still in Fort Myers airspace climbing out. So I hopped on the line with them and said, hey, I got a unconscious pilot. This guy needs to get back down. Do you want me to put him back on you?
Fort Myers, approach Fort Myers, low 724 line emergency.
All right.
559 Delta Whiskey has an unconscious pilot. He needs help. Do you want me to put him back on you?
Need help.
Where's he going? He's just semi. 559 Delta Whiskey, say your intentions.
I need to get this thing on the ground. I'm flying the King Air.
559 Delta Whiskey, I understand. Are you a pilot? The pilot unconscious.
My pilot's deceased. I am a single engine pilot, low time.
Miami 49.
I need help. I need a King Air pilot to talk to.
All right, all aircraft standby. 559 Delta Whiskey. And are you at the cockpit now?
I am co-pilot for it. Get him out.
Air 9 Delta Whiskey, understand you are able to fly an aircraft?
Single engine, I need to get off this. I'm going through 11,000. I need to get level.
Air 9 Delta Whiskey, go ahead and level off at 1,000.
I want to do that with unset this autopilot.
Air 9 Delta Whiskey, roger. 0461, contact Miami approach 133.77.
3377, 0461.
American 2234, contact Miami approach 120.5.
20.5, or 2234.
Vonta 108, descend and maintain 8,000, next flight down.
Hurry down to 8,000, Vonta 108.
Eagle,
Air 9 Delta Whiskey, are you able to maintain 12,000?
Do I turn off the altimeter or not? It's steady climbing, and it looks to me like my altitude descent is on 10,000. I don't know why I keep going climbing. Just figure out how to level off.
And November 9 Delta Whiskey, okay, and you think the autopilot is on?
I know it's on.
And or 9 Delta Whiskey, all right, can you tell what altitude it says it's going to climb to?
The altitude said is 10,000, but I'm going through 13 now. It should have leveled off at 10, so how do I stop that is what I want to know.
I'm trying to talk to Doug. I'm trying to talk to all these other airplanes. Yelling across the room, hey, get me somebody who knows something about a King Air now.
Citrus 86, descend and maintain 11,000.
11,000, Citrus 86.
458 Hotel Charlie, contact Miami Center 127.2.
472, Hotel Charlie. Center after 445, kilo 10,000 at 8270.
American 2050, cross Scott at maintain 10,000 at 2509.
Scott 10,000,
559 Delta Whiskey only, and understand, so we're trying to find some help out here, and you're still on a climb?
Still climbing through 14,000. I can turn my altitude set to 15, maybe that'll stop it.
You said it's set at 1,500?
It's set at 10,000, 10,000, but it went through that. So I need to, if I set it to 16,000, will it level off or not under altitude set? 9 Delta Whiskey?
November 9 Delta Whiskey. Okay, I understand you're going to be leveling off at 15,000. Is that what you're showing on the autopilot?
No, autopilot once again says 10,000. I've already busted 10,000. I'm steady climbing. I need to stop the climb.
Yeah, I felt kind of helpless. I don't want him to keep climbing. But at the same time, I'm still trying to determine, okay, if he disengages it, can he fly the plane on his own? And then Lisa Grimm got there, and she started assisting Doug.
Stay with me, man. Let's go.
559 Delta Whiskey, I'm here. Don't worry. We're trying to find a solution to that. Stand by.
For me on the 50. Okay, number 5 Delta Whiskey. When you look at the center console there, you don't see anything with the ATM. You see the autopilot's unable to disengage?
I don't know. I know where the autopilot switch is down there. It's on engage right now. I can engage it if you disengage it. That's fine.
Number 5 Delta Whiskey. Disengage the autopilot. We're gonna have you hand fly the plane. I flew Learjets for a corporate company prior to coming to air traffic control. So once they realized that I was at work that day, they're just trying to get me out of where I am. All we knew at that point is a pilot had possibly died, and that passenger had taken over the plane, and he really didn't have any flight experience. Once I realized that he had a little bit of pilot experience, to me it was, if I can simplify this plane as much as possible, because I was a flight instructor for years as well. It's a plane, no matter how complicated, it still flies by the same basic rules. There's still lift, drag, rudder, yoke, basic instruments. There's a horizon outside. We can make this work.
All right, do you want me to disengage the autopilot?
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, affirmative. Disengage the autopilot.
All right, disengaging the autopilot. I need to pull back on the throttle some, correct?
Number 5 Delta Whiskey. Native, you can hold the yoke. You got are you holding the yoke now level?
Yeah, I can disengage the autopilot right now.
Okay, hold the yoke level, disengage the autopilot.
Say again?
Hold the yoke level and disengage the autopilot, number 5 Delta Whiskey.
This is the moment of truth for Mr. White. He knows if he disengages the autopilot, it's all on him to fly this highly complex airplane, of which he knows practically nothing about. But if he doesn't stop the plane from climbing, he also knows it will eventually reach its maximum service ceiling, most likely stall and fall from the sky. It's one of those do-or-die moments that tests everything we have and requires everything we are for a chance to survive and save the ones we love most in this world.
I disengaged it. I'm flying the airplane by hand.
Okay, number 5 Delta Whiskey in here. Can you try my position? It's showing you now at 17,000.
Well, when I killed the autopilot, the plane was trimmed for a 2,000 foot per minute climb. So I had some real strong nose up trim. I thought that was the heaviest thing I'd ever grabbed hold of in my life. I was used to little 172. Trim wheel was way over on the other side of the cockpit, and the pilot's leg was up against the trim wheel. And of course, I know I was told, and I found out later, that I had an electric trim button on by my thumb, but I didn't go to King Air 200 school that day, and I didn't know where that was at. Got my hand, I worked it between the outside of Joe's leg and the inside of that trim wheel to where I get the front of one of my fingers on a notch of that trim wheel and roll it forward a couple notches to give me some relief.
Record 17 on a couple bomb me approach 120.5.
You find me as long as the widest runway you can, ma'am.
5 Delta Whiskey, roger. I'm going to try to keep you hold the plane level. You're doing pretty good, 17,200. Try to hold the plane now at 17,000.
All right, 17.3 right now.
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, roger.
445 Alpha Kilo, level 10,000, heading here, 270.
Citrus 304, contact Miami approach 133.77.
2377, 304.
44, connect contact Fort Myers approach 119.75.
119.75, 44 Quebec.
Roger, 108, contact Miami approach 120.5.
All right, I got the engine torque on 1900 on the engine. Affirmative. 240.
American 2050, Miami approach 120.5.
2025, American 2050, good day.
686, altitude descending to.
All right, number 5 Delta Whiskey. We're going to start a slow, shallow descent. Just easy down on the yoke. A slight descent. We're going to get you down to 11,000.
11,000. Do you want me to change the power setting on the throttle? Whiskey.
Number 9 Delta Whiskey, affirmative. Pull back slightly on the throttle and just ease over the yoke gently.
All right.
We're going to take a nice shallow descent. Whatever you're comfortable with, we'll just try to make a nice shallow 500 feet per minute descent.
What's the rate of descent for 9 Delta Whiskey?
Number 9 Delta Whiskey, whatever you're comfortable with, we're going to try just start at like a 500 feet per minute. If it goes more, that's fine. We're just trying to make it a nice, easy descent for you down to 1,000.
I got it 1,000 feet per second.
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, that's fantastic.
9 Delta Whiskey, straight ahead on a heading of, about 350. 456 is at 240. Center Astra, 445, Alpha Kilo.
Center 86, Miami.
Miami is 1.5 Alpha Kilo. We're heading 270, 10,000. American 456 East Lower.
686, contact Miami, approach 133.77.
Hi, y'all, good luck. 3377, will do.
American 456, flying 180.
Heading 180, American 456. You want to show us 445 Alpha Kilo.
Alpha Kilo, stand by. American 456, flying 180, contact Miami Center 132.2.
Thank you. 322, good day.
Air 5 Alpha Kilo, climbing tip over 400.
Up to 400, can we get direct volunteer?
Air 5 Alpha Kilo, got emergency going on. Stand by 1 and contact Miami Center 133.9er.
1339, up to 400, 445 Alpha Kilo.
Okay, number 5 Delta Whiskey, you doing all right there, descending?
Oh, we're having a 9er Delta Whiskey at 16,000, 1,000 foot per minute descent, 9er Delta Whiskey.
Okay, number 9er Delta Whiskey, just so you know what we're doing here, we're going to get you down to 1,000. We're going to make you give you a turn to the west. We're going to hand you off to Fort Myers Approach, and they've got some controllers there that also have pilot experience, and they're going to talk you all the way in down to the landing there. Do you have any experience in a King Air?
Negative.
All right, number 5 Delta Whiskey, you're doing a real good job. Just keep you doing a very good holding your heading, a real nice descent there.
You got me heading almost due north.
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, affirmative. I just didn't want to turn you while you're descending. If you're comfortable with that, I'll give you a turn out to the west while you're descending. That's up to you. Would you like to continue straight during the descent or make a turn with the descent?
I can make a turn with the descent. I don't need any weather up here right now either, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not showing any weather on my radar here, but I only show precipitation. But let me just make sure I confirm what you said. You said you'd like to make a turn to the left while you're descending?
I can do that.
Okay, number 5 Delta Whiskey, just a nice, easy turn to the left, whatever you're comfortable, real shallow, real gentle on the controls. You're going to turn left, fly a heading of about a 270 heading, and continue that descent down to 1,000, whatever you're comfortable with.
Left 270 down to 1,000, King Air 9er Delta Whiskey.
Number 9er Delta Whiskey, affirmative. You're doing a really nice job, real smooth.
8215.
And number 5 Delta Whiskey, just to put your mind at ease, there's good weather at Fort Myers. There's no weather in the DFR. Okay, number 5 Delta Whiskey, just so you know the plan, we're going to bring you around to Fort Myers. They've got the longer runway, and we're going to get you the most available runway for your landing. You're going to do fine.
9er Delta Whiskey.
All right, number 9er Delta Whiskey, you got any questions about what you're doing right now? Are you okay?
Yeah, we're great. 9er Delta Whiskey, thank you.
Okay, number 5 Delta Whiskey, real nice job in that turn there, and you're going to be talking to Fort Myers Approach here in just a minute. Like I said, they're going to take their time and talk to you and get you down safe.
What's that frequency going to be?
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, it will be 132.07.
Let me see if I can find it without screwing this up.
Okay, well, if you want, why don't we wait until you're level there and turned out on a heading, and then you can try to tune in that frequency.
132 what?
It'll be 132.07 for November 5 Delta Whiskey.
13207, 9 Delta Whiskey.
And like I said, number 9er Delta Whiskey, just concentrate on flying the plane real Looks like you're just about established on that heading. Now you're approaching that 1,000. As you get to about 1,500, you want to start easing up just a little bit on that yoke to level off that plane. Don't worry if you go through the altitudes or anything, but in about 500 feet, just start kind of leveling off that yoke just a little bit, easing back, and apply just a touch of the throttle.
Set this altitude set at 11,000 and turn the autopilot back on.
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, if you would like, if that makes you more comfortable, you can do that.
Do you have the frequency set on high?
No, I can't do it. It messes up my heading.
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, Roger. It's probably, there's a little bug for the heading that you can twist over to get established with the autopilot. But why don't we, you're doing such a good job here hand flying, why don't we keep you on that heading? You're doing well, and we'll level it. Looks like you're just about level at 1,000 now, holding it well. And now if you can, it's going to be 132.07.
So she's given me the radio frequency for Fort Myers, but I've got about 4 sets of radios looking at me there, and I don't know which one's Navcom 216, whatever it is. This is not my little Bendix Cessna radios. I said, well, how do I switch frequencies? Do I push this green TO buttons? Because I did not want to lose her on that radio, because that radio was my lifeline.
Would I push 2 to change that frequency?
If you do have it set up in the second radio, sir?
I do.
Yep, you would switch 2. So what I'm going to do, number 5 Delta Whiskey, is contact Fort Myers approach 132.07 by pushing 2. If you do not get them, just switch it again, and you'll be talking to me.
Thanks.
Number 5 Delta Whiskey, you're right.
King Air 559er Delta Whiskey, Fort Myers approach, John.
The end of my ship, I was actually walking out of the TRACON. The supervisor came out to catch me and said we had an emergency inbound from Miami Center and that the pilot wanted to talk to a controller with a pilot flight. And then I was getting a handoff from Miami Center, and that's when I realized it was a King Air, which I don't know a whole heck of a lot about. I basically fly Cessnas and Cherokees, so I didn't know how much help I was going to be.
Fort Myers Center, King Air 559er Delta Whiskey.
King Air 559er Delta Whiskey, Fort Myers approach. And are you in a descent right now, sir?
I am. What you want me to do is hold it or what?
Actually, if you can, we can just start a descent down to 5,000, and we're getting some help from another pilot that's familiar with the airplane. We'll get you some information. Can you descend the airplane?
I can, down to 5,000 on heading 270. This is a King Air 200.
King Air 9er Delta Whiskey, Roger. We're passing that information now. If you're able, fly heading 240 and descend and maintain 5,000. Just take your time. We'll set you up for the airport.
All right, 240 to 5,000, 9er Delta Whiskey.
And November 9er Delta Whiskey, are you using the autopilot or are you flying the airplane?
May the good Lord hand flying this 9er Delta Whiskey.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I was given information on how to get to the airport, and a controller sitting next to me, cell phone, and calling an old flight instructor up in Danbury, Connecticut that had a lot of King Air time, and he was desperately trying to get him on the phone. All of a sudden, the other controller got his flight instructor, Kerry Sorensen, on the telephone, and he happened to be sitting in his office on a Sunday morning with his briefcase that had a King Air checklist in it.
9 Delta Whiskey, are you a licensed pilot?
No-time single-engine land, 9er Delta Whiskey.
Okay, very good. King Air 9 Delta Whiskey, when you're ready, turn left heading 180. We'll start working you towards the airport. Whenever you're ready to turn, fly heading 180.
180 to 5,000 for 9er Delta Whiskey. I need to slow my descent down. That's 2,500 feet per minute here. I need to get my throttle set for this descent. I don't know where to set it at.
Okay, sir, we'll get some information. If you just retard it just a little bit, and I'll get you an answer on that. And if you want to stop the descent, that's fine, too.
We got buzzers going off here, gear control or something, I don't know.
Okay, sir, in that case, just level off when you're comfortable, and I'll get you an answer on that in just a moment.
All of a sudden I got this rotate.
9 Delta Whiskey, the information I have is to pre-select the autopilot to 5,000, but don't turn it on yet. You can go to the center console on the instrument panel and pre-select 5,000 feet, but don't engage it yet, and I'll get you information on how to do that.
I got a pre-altitude set at 5,000. I know how to engage it, but I got to get rid of the heading bug that's hooked to this autopilot.
Okay, let me get that request in.
I can push altitude select on the console.
Okay, I'm passing that information. Nine Delta Whiskey, they're telling me you can slew the heading bug. Do you know how to do that?
No.
Okay, no problem.
I'm 150 knots. I need to keep installing this airplane. I'm just going through a little descent here.
Okay, sir, just advance the throttles, and your altitude's good, so I guess just pick up the speed with the throttles and try to hold 5,000 feet. Yeah, looks like you're coming up on 5,000 feet. That looks pretty good. Just a little bit slow on the ground speed, 140 knots ground speed.
Are you guys still up there?
9 Delta Whiskey, when you can, turn left and fly heading 180 when you're able.
That's 180, 9 Delta Whiskey.
It says get them safely. Right down here.
Yeah, looks like your speed's picking up now. That looks good. 9 Delta Whiskey, the information I'm getting now is to leave the props and the power where it's at and just fly like you normally would a single engine for now.
All right, 9 Delta Whiskey.
Kerry Sorensen, flight instructor, King Air pilot, had this to say. My best words were, just fly it like a single engine. He was crying for power settings, however, without knowing pitch, I couldn't give him power settings. He was coming down on his own terms. We simply guided him in a series of steps. The few altitudes and headings were given to see progression and how well he flew. When he was first handed over, his airspeed was varying 100 knots. At the end, he was within 10 knots. Basically, it worked.
You got any alarms or warnings going off?
No, just heavy trim.
Okay, heavy trim. Okay, I'll pass that on. 9 Delta Whiskey, how many souls on board?
5.
5? Okay, thank you.
Are you showing me in a turn? I'm not moving very good here.
No, sir, it still looks like you're southwest bound, and no turn yet. The altitude and speed look good, but you're still southwest bound.
Yeah, turn left to left. Okay, hold on.
Now they're telling me the trim control is on the yoke, and it's on the left-hand side of the yoke where the thumb would be, on the upper left-hand side of the yoke for trim.
Understand.
That might help you keep from the yoke forces.
10 on the heading now.
Okay, very good, sir. Keep it coming around when you can. We'll make it 140 on the heading, 140 on the heading. And 9 Delta Whiskey, just want to verify you do have the autopilot off.
I got the 2 black buttons on disengaged, which is down on the console.
Okay, sir, thank you. Yeah, the turn looks good. Very good, sir.
Who's the guy with the hat tech?
And 9 Delta Whiskey on the instrument panel, is there a landing checklist?
No, I'm not worried with that right now. I'm heading 140 at 6,000 right now. I can put the gear down in the flaps.
Okay, they're telling me you're a little too fast for the gear, so hold on just a moment on the gear and I'll call you back in just a minute. We got plenty of room before we get you to the airport. This will be a landing runway 6 at Fort Myers International, and hold the gear for just a moment.
Oh, I was going to. I'm just telling you, I know where the gear control is. 9 Delta Whiskey.
Okay, that's good. That's good information. Do you know where the flap control handle is?
I do. I don't know what setting to put them on.
Okay, I'll get you that information in just a moment then.
You bringing me in on left base for 6, I assume?
9 Delta Whiskey, that's correct, and we'll get you more information in just a moment. So you're on a left base for 6. You're still a good 25 miles out. We got plenty of time. And you've only been airborne about a half hour, is that correct?
Yeah, we got plenty of fuel.
Okay, very good. King Air 9 Delta Whiskey, I'm told below 160 knots you're able to lower the gear and the flaps, either one, but it'll be 160 knots will be the speed for that.
Yeah, a little premature for that. What do you want me to do when I get to 5,000?
When you get to 5,000, we'll start a slow descent to 3,000, and I'll have another turn for you, and I'll turn you right towards the airport, probably about 10 miles.
Delta Whiskey, 4,700 for 3.
9 Delta Whiskey, Roger. That looks pretty good. Turn left, heading 090.
090, 9 Delta Whiskey.
Delta Whiskey, more information for you about the throttles. Just operate them like you normally would in a single engine. Instead, the turbine will respond to it pretty similarly. So just as far as power and airspeed, you can just operate it like a normal throttle. King Air 9 Delta Whiskey, fly heading 070, vector to the airport.
070, 9 Delta Whiskey. Niner Delta Whiskey, 220 knots indicated.
9 Delta Whiskey, Roger. When you get to 3,000, just retard the throttles a little bit at a time. We'll get your speed slow down so we can get the gear down, and I got more information for you in just a moment.
9 Delta Whiskey.
Yeah, 9 Delta Whiskey, it'll be runway 6. It's a 12,000-foot runway, so you're going to have plenty of runway to work with. And we got equipment standing by, and it's all yours.
What's the wind?
Currently, it's 020 at 4 knots.
Niner Delta Whiskey. Now, when I recharge these throttle here in a minute, I need to know what's indicated to go to.
9 Delta Whiskey, roger. We'll just retard them slowly. You can start now at your discretion, a little bit at a time, and when you get to 150 knots, I'm told you can drop the gear in the flaps.
Yeah, I understand that. I just want to know where to get it to.
No, I'm not sure what the setting will be, but just to retard them a little bit at a time and to get and just watch the airspeed indicator because you're looking for 160 knots or smaller. Delta Whiskey, fly heading 060, and that'll put you right on the final. You're about 18 miles out.
060, Niner Delta Whiskey.
9 Delta Whiskey, when you get the speed under control, at your discretion, maintain 2,000. There's no hurry for that, but when you're ready, 2,000.
What is speed under discretion indicated?
If we're looking for 160 knots indicated, you can start the gear down. Right now I'm showing your ground speed right at 160 knots.
I think I see a runway at 12 o'clock and about 7-8 miles, Niner Delta Whiskey.
9 Delta Whiskey, that's correct. You're looking at the right runway. That's runway 6 at International, and you're about a 15-mile final now. So have you got the gear going down yet, sir?
Negative. I'm descending. I need to get down to 2,000 and get my speed down, Niner Delta Whiskey.
9 Delta Whiskey, the last instruction I got, when you get to 150 knots, the flap control will say approach flaps on there. Just select that D10 when you get to 150 knots.
Is that going to be the first notch, Niner Delta Whiskey?
And I'm confirming that right now. That's correct, sir, the very first notch.
2,800, Niner Delta Whiskey, 165 indicated.
Sounds good. You're right on the money. You're lined up for the runway, so altitude, your discretion. You can proceed visually, and just let me know when you have the gear and the flaps down.
All right, gear going down. I got 3 greens indicated. Tell me the final approach speed, Niner Delta Whiskey.
9 Delta Whiskey, I have it for you in just a moment. The lineup is good. We'll get the approach speed in just a second. Hey, your speed's good right now, and no slower than present speed, and I'll call you back with the final approach speed.
Got 140 indicated, and I got a blanking caution light that says master caution, faster reset. What is that?
9 Delta Whiskey, I'll get you an answer in just a moment. No slower than your present speed. That should be good right there.
2100 indicated.
Very good. And 9 Delta Whiskey, you are cleared to land, cleared to land runway 6.
Appreciate it. Cleared to land runway 6, 9 Delta Whiskey. I need to talk to me about some flaps. When do I hit approach speed?
Okay, you can set you do have the flaps in the first detent right now, sir?
Negative. What airspeed can I drop the approach flap indication?
You can do it right now, sir. You're at the correct speed now.
First notch down, the flaps, 9 Delta Whiskey. When I touch down, if I ever touch down, do I just kill the throttle or what?
That's correct. When you touch down, slowly kill the throttle.
I got 155 indicated, 2,000 feet descending.
9 Delta Whiskey, roger. And just a little bit fast on the airspeed. Just slow down just a little bit.
Roger, 9 Delta Whiskey. 150, 1800 altitude.
For 9 Delta Whiskey, roger.
What's approach speed, final approach speed again to the threshold?
I'll have it for you in just a moment, sir. Your present speed's good. I'll have the final approach speed in just a second. And 9 Delta Whiskey, make your final approach speed 120 knots indicated. You've got time for that, though. You're still 6 miles out, but 120 knots will be your final approach speed.
120, 9 Delta Whiskey through 1400, got 140 indicated. Got dead pilots inside me.
9 Delta Whiskey, I believe you got one more D10 left on the flaps, so when you get to 120, it'll be full flaps at 120, and then at that point, no slower than 110.
Full flaps at 120, no slower than 110, 9 Delta Whiskey.
9 Delta Whiskey, more information for you. It's just easy with the power as you get close to the runway to keep the nose up, keep the power on it, but easy in and out with the power. They're very responsive, so you'll get a lot of response out of it. Delta Whiskey, you don't have to respond. More information, once you make it onto the ground, just center line with the rudder pedals, you kill the throttle, and maximum braking.
Get out of 9 Delta Whiskey. 500.
And ground speed looks good.
I keep this pilot off the control.
You have plenty of runway, sir, so if you got to add a lot of power to make the threshold, that's fine. You got 12,000 feet of runway.
Full flaps, 9 Delta Whiskey, 120 indicated.
9 Delta Whiskey, Roger. It looks good from here. Good job.
It ain't over till it's over, friend. Wind check again.
340 at 3 knots. It's almost come.
Taxiway, you want card?
9 Delta Whiskey, the runway's all yours. You can turn left or right, whatever's easier for you. Power all the way back, and they're telling me max braking.
Bring it up, buddy, thank you. 9 Delta Whiskey.
Delta Whiskey, when you're ready, you can go to ground frequency 121.9. Nice work.
121.9, thank you.
To this day, I know I had a lot of divine intervention, non-divine help up there, but that thing sat down like a butterfly with sore feet. And I got off active, and then I'm surrounded by the cavalry, EMTs, and fire trucks and police, and I can't turn the engines off. I'm thinking, we just went through what we just went through, and I'm going to cut somebody in half because I don't know how to kill the engine. Anyway, there was an airline pilot, or co-pilot, sitting in a jet there at RSW who had a lot of King Air time, and he volunteered to help me. And so they opened the back door, and the girls got off. The EMTs got Joe out, worked on him, put him on a gurney, and worked on him for half an hour right there on the runway by the plane. He was already gone.
In a later interview, Doug White said, Joe Kavik set an example. He was a real professional pilot and a great guy. If I could be half the pilot he was, I'd be tickled. Doug made a decision to get back on the horse that threw him and went on to earn his commercial license, instrument, and multi-engine ratings. He flew 7 or 8 relief missions into Haiti after their earthquake, as well as a couple of missions into Belize. Doug flew wounded soldiers, amputees for the Veterans Airlift Command all over the U.S. He logged over 1,000 hours as pilot in command in Niner Delta Whiskey after he logged his first hour on Easter Sunday, 2009.
Me and the good Lord's hand flying this 9 Delta Whiskey.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Where's it at?
Okay, 170 knots, wow, moving, okay.
safe room?
My present altitude is about 2,500 feet.
Who's that?
Okay, are you talking to Green Bay or to Sturgeon Bay?
Hey. Come on, bro.
Helen, are you
I'm trying
calling
to get this
Sturgeon Bay or talking to Green
guy to
Bay
come in the
Air
room.
Traffic Control?
I'm doing fine, but I'm getting too close to the airport to land right now. I'll have to make another turn.
Helen, are you going to Green Bay or are you going to Sturgeon Bay? Over.
I'm not sure. I'm over the Sturgeon Bay Airport.
Okay, very good. Are you talking to Green Bay at all, or are you only talking to me here at Sturgeon Bay Airport?
It seems like I have two different voices. Somebody said they'd have a pilot there shortly to talk me down.
Okay, very good. I'm the pilot at Sturgeon Bay Airport, and I heard the aircraft just fly over. Helen, if you could continue to circle right around the airport as you see it, we'll coordinate what we're going to, the approach we're going to make here, okay?
Okay, will do.
Can you tell me how much fuel you have, the fuel gauges? Can you locate the fuel gauges and tell me how much fuel you have? Half tanks, full tanks, or...
I'm not sure. We just came from Rome, Georgia, so they're not real full. They're down. The left tank is a little over the 1 mark, and the right tank is a little under the 1 mark.
Okay, very good. Stand by.
November 5 Whiskey Tango, Cardinal 19119er. We're at 6,500 feet over the airport. We'll stay out of your way, but if I can be of any help, I'm certainly willing to do that. Meantime, I know they're waiting for someone to arrive at the tower that can help with that particular aircraft.
Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Sound like you're doing great. We're just going to be looking for you. You're still south of the airport, yes?
What the heck just happened?
Okay, I just want to make sure that she's got ample clearance. Liner. Thank you. 119er, I'll make certain that we maintain adequate distance.
Do you want me to go lower?
No, you're doing fine. Stay where you are.
Okay, Helen, is John in the cockpit in the left seat, and is his seatbelt shoulder harnesses on? Over.
No, it is not. I don't know if I can get it on him or not. He took it off right when this was happening.
Seat, that's fine. Make sure your shoulder harnesses are on, though, and your seatbelt is secure, and we're working on the plan right now. Stand by.
Okay, I've got mine on. I I do.
Okay, Helen, we're going to launch another aircraft. It'll come up and it'll fly right next to you and give you instructions, and we'll fly right with you all the way down to the airport. There'll also be somebody on the ground watching you. Over?
Okay, I got it.
Okay, just continue to circle the airport. We'll be up there in about 10 minutes. So just keep the power setting to where it is. Keep the configuration of the airplane the same. Just keep circling around the airport at the altitude and the airspeed that you're at. Okay, you're doing a fine job, Helen. Just continue to fly like...
My airspeed is about 170 right now.
Okay, that's fine. That's good protection for the configuration of the airplane. You do not have any flaps down, is that correct?
I got it.
You have no flaps down, is that correct?
That is correct. And the gear is still up.
Okay, very good. We'll continue in that configuration until another aircraft comes up next to you. It'll be a blue and white aircraft. I'll be talking to you on the radio. And there'll be another voice on the radio, a female voice, and she will be talking to you also. She's familiar with the aircraft. And keep your speed just where it is. That's a good, safe speed. We'll have you reduce the power once the aircraft comes up next to you. Over. Helen, did you copy?
Okay, I got you, but I got to get over there. Do you want me to put my flaps down?
Don't do that yet. Sturgeon Bay, Unicom, there is a pilot that has launched a plane that's familiar with that aircraft that's going to come on shortly. Please follow their instructions. I know everybody's trying to help, but Whiskey Tango, just wait. There's an aircraft on the way that's going to escort you down with a pilot that's familiar with that aircraft.
Thank you.
Hi, Helen. This is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. It's a hell of a place to be.
You know, but it sounds like you're doing great.
Well, I did solo, but that's as far as I went.
Yeah, but that's fantastic, and you got a lot of airtime with your hubby. My hubby's the guy that's going to go airborne and just kind of talk you down.
Where is he located right now?
He's going to take off from the airport in about 5 minutes. He's here at the airport.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, you could just add that to your overlay.
Helen, did you copy?
Yes, I copied. My cell phone was on the floor. I got to get it, turn it on again.
Okay.
Do they have emergency services out there?
We're standing by the terminal, and Rob thought he'll take off and come up near you and help work you down. We thought you should probably land to the north.
Boom.
My cell phone is ringing right now. Is that you guys? I hate to take off the headphones.
Just disregard it. We're all here on the radio.
Thank you.
Curb stomp these guys. I mean.
So the plan is for you to land to the north?
All right, I got it.
And the winds are light. And just a couple things to remember. And I'm just going to talk to you about this while they get the airplane ready and launch.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
You don't ever want the airspeed to get below 100. You probably know that, right?
Yes, I do. How do I control that? With the throttle?
With the throttle, what is the throttle set at RPM-wise right now?
at the RPM, it's about 23 inches.
Okay, and that RPM goes with top levers. Are you familiar with the top levers?
No, I am not.
Now the throttles, are you familiar with the throttles?
Not on this aircraft, no.
This is the twin engine aircraft.
I don't know if I have enough gas. Do you think that's a good idea?
What's that, Helen?
They want me to go to Green Bay.
Where did you say the fuel indicator was?
The right one is just a little under half between up to the 1, and the left one is on 1.
Okay, so it's just under a half, you said?
Not half full. It's close to nothing.
Oh, okay, it's close to quarter tanks. Okay, are you over the airport right now?
No, I'm headed south right now. I'm about even with Algoma.
Okay, now I would start heading north, back to Sturgeon Bay Airport.
Who said they want me to come to Green Bay? Somebody wanted me to come to Green Bay.
Your son is here and said no because of the fuel. You should continue here to Sturgeon Bay, and if you just head north, if you're by Algoma, just follow the shoreline north.
I know where Green Bay is. Do they want me to go to Green Bay or Sturgeon Bay?
Mom, who told you to go to Green Bay? We're preparing for you here.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I'm in a turn right now. I'm turning towards Sturgeon Bay.
Mom, who told you to go to Green Bay? We hate to override other people.
I don't know who I'm talking to half the time.
Mom, this is Jim. I wanted to know who called you to Green Bay.
Roger that. I will do.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, shit. Oh, really? Is that like a full price game?
You're telling me to the left?
You could do what?
I'm trying to slow it down. In fact, I lost the airport right now.
But it's not like a solo game, like you need someone to play with, right?
Mom, this is Jim. You talking to Green Bay?
No, I don't think so.
Kurt slapped this guy.
Mom, is your intention to come back to Sturgeon Bay?
That's correct.
Uh-oh.
All right. Now, you understand there's another plane coming up and you're going to follow them in, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. The throttles, you were worried about that. You know, you kill the power by pulling them back, not forward.
I know. I don't want to pull it all the way back, so then I'll lose everything, won't I?
All of them are pulling back. That wouldn't be the worst.
I'm at 1,500 feet. Can I put my gear down yet? I lost the airport.
Bro.
Helen, it's a black runway. Just fly along the shoreline if you lost the airport, and you'll see the big, long, black north-south runway. And what comes up is the hangars with the shiny roofs you'll see.
I know it when I see it, but right now with everything going on.
Now, do you know where those two throttle levers are? They're to the far left.
Yes, I do. I'm at 135 right now.
Okay, and that's your airspeed. What is your manifold pressure say?
Look at the accuracy, 61%.
25.
Okay, that's good. And we won't put the gear down yet. What I'm going to have you do is just kind of circle over the airport. Once you see the airport,
I see it now.
Over the airport.
I see it now.
Okay, you see it now.
Is the other airplane in the air?
Yes.
He's not in the air yet. He's on the ramp. He's just starting up.
I'm just going over the highway. You know, I think I'm going to run out of fuel on my right tank.
You're really low. You should climb a bit. You're not going to land this fast.
Okay, Helen.
I'm climbing to 2,000.